Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today, I want to talk about the daily technical analysis update of gold and silver. We're going to look at dollar, yields, precious metals, ETFs, and individual companies. So that's what we're going to go into and through. Things are looking positive for market conditions for the metals and for the commodities in general. And I'll touch on one commodity index just to show you that this thing's it's ramping higher. Gold's usually a little bit lagged behind everything. Usually you get this big move up, it settles down, and then we start taking off a little bit. Are we at that point? It's looking like we're breaking out. So that little lag behind is coming, I think. So let's look at the charts. I'll give you my financial opinion. Please don't use it as advice. But here we go. Let's dive into it. So we've got the dollar. The dollar did a little back test here. We went sideways, just chopping sideways, and then we are heading lower. And what I mean by lower, 0.7% today, that's a pretty big down day. And this could go substantially lower if it gets some momentum going. But it did go lower today, and it closed quite a bit lower with strength to the downside. The momentum's to the downside for the dollar. The 10-year yield came back again today as well as yesterday. Again, I think we're just doing a little bit of a retest here. It's very common to see that. You pull up, you do a retest. We might hang out for a little bit and then move on up. But I don't see a scenario where rates go substantially lower unless we've got some serious problems in this system. And I don't know where those problems are at because we've got inflation everywhere. CRB Index, this is the Thomson Reuters Commodity CRB Index. Massive update today, 1.5%. This thing's looking fantastic for a move higher. This is the variant scare that they threw out, and it just so happened that their variant scare of the moronic variant came out on a breakout of commodities just by happenstance, just by happenstance, totally happenstance on this breakout that they released this news on a low trading day on a Friday by total happenstance. Yes, I totally believe that. But we're coming back. It's structural in nature. They can't do anything to prevent this move from coming. They can only delay it, in my opinion. Gold, the safety of this system and where you can have the most private money, where you don't get caught doing transactions like Bitcoin, where they force you into a metaverse world, where they can control absolutely everything in the world of that metaverse and can control the money. Here is your freedom. This is the most private money in the world that they don't want you to own, and we are heading higher. It's looking fantastic. Silver's moving on up as well, 40-cent up day today. We are in this pattern. It will eventually break and be released to the wild. Platinum, 10.5 bucks up today, looking quite strong, so that's good. So platinum's looking good. Looking at the XAU to gold ratio, the miners are outperforming gold. We're heading a little bit higher, so that's a positive development for the XAU to gold ratio. And this thing's in no man's land. Let me get off the logarithmic scale here and back out a little bit more. We're in no man's land down here, guys. This is ultra cheap for the mining companies. So there's a lot of opportunity here if you're patient. Karora Resources, I'm just going to do kind of the short term. We had a bullish engulfing yesterday. It continued today up 3.7%. Looks fantastic. EXK is continuing its move to the upside, finishing strong. Looks really good. SILJ finishing strong, 2.8%. Again, looks good so far. Hopefully the momentum can continue. GDX finishing strong. Nice big 3 days finishing strong. That's exactly what you want to see. Some of these smaller exploration companies are joining in, 6.9%. Hopefully we can get some this. I mean, if you look, and when you look at this stuff, these are the lows, and then the lows are stepping on higher, and hopefully this is a low. I think this is a rounding bottom that we're going to head higher potentially here in the short term. So that looks absolutely fantastic as well. Karora Resources, we're right at that resistance line up in this corner here, pegged up against it. We'll break out of it here. Discovery Silver, bullish engulfing, coming up into this big old pattern. We'll eventually break it, and we'll probably see $1.59 will just be a distant memory when this thing breaks and leaves this area. AG, getting some traction. This was a good buy point down here. And I think we'll see higher move here. Newmont moving on up, looking good. I wouldn't necessarily buy Newmont. I'm just using it as a yardstick, basically. Mag Silver, it's right at this resistance line, support line, and I would be probably a buyer down here. That's what I would be doing. Yamana Gold, we are still within the pattern, and I don't think it's going to be within the pattern for much longer. With the break of gold to the upside, this will probably break to the upside and will launch. I would be a buyer before the launch. That's me. Impact Silver, it's fine on a bottom. I would probably be doing whatever I would be doing already, and I would have bought down here and have a 10% up movement or 8 or whatever it is. Aftermath Silver is looking like it's trying to find some footing. Good update today. Arcana Gold or Arcana Silver moving on sideways. I'm kind of still indifferent about it. PLG, it's trying to break out of this little pattern here. Got a little bit of stickiness resistance, and hopefully we can break tomorrow. Maybe Palladium can join in this game. Sandstorm Gold looking good. A little bit of a contraction in the opening and closing prices as we move up. We are coming into resistance, and that's what that resistance line is. I drew the line right where it should be. Franco-Nevada, again, we're coming into some resistance here. This does have a little bit of a bearish tone, potentially. Big sell-off here. We're coming up and coming into resistance. This could roll over, but if gold goes up, I would have a huge slant on this going higher versus heading lower. EMX looking good. Nice big update today, 7.14%. We maybe even have broken this downtrend line here, which we did, so that looks good. I like it a lot down here. Teuton Resources moving sideways. Still, I think, a decent buy. When gold prices go up a little bit more, this is when this thing really starts to get activated. And I would be a buyer down here. That's where I buy. I buy before a breakout. I don't chase price. Wheat and precious metals looking good. Moving on up today. The only thing I'll say is we've got these two large kind of down days here, and we're working our way up. If we contract, we may pull back a little bit before heading higher. So that is a possibility. Gold royalty, a little bit of a down day today. We still might have a little bit of wiggleness in this before moving higher. Something like that, and I just drew that in real quick. Metallo royalty looking good. Nice, good, solid update with good closing buying pressure. Same with Mavericks Metals. Strong closing, good buying pressure. Royal Gold, we're kind of at the top of this line here. Backing out, we're trying to break through this resistance line. We've compressed up against it with small opening and closing prices. And then Osisko Gold royalty, yeah, we got a little bit of a contraction in the candlestick. It's a black candlestick. We might, I mean, I'm just going to take a guess here. Might as well. We might do something like this before moving up. But that's what I've got for today, guys. That is our gold and silver update. Everything looking quite solid. I like that gold's breaking to the upside. Let's hope it can continue. Let's keep this thing moving. Hopefully we get a big move. And if we don't, I still think it will happen. If we come up and we go sideways above it, that's okay too. On the long term, though, I don't see how gold and silver don't go higher. If you've got a 5-year time frame, 6-year time frame, 7-year time frame, it's going to be much, much higher. So my kind of plan here is if it stays down, I'm going to continue to accumulate. I'm going to buy physical metals. I'm going to buy my mining companies. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. And eventually that day will come. It will be a fun day. Well, for us, not for anyone else, because inflation is going to be super high. If you guys like the content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.